Welcome back to the Living Fit After 50 show.
Welcome
It's
back.
Friday, 1 o'clock. What more could you possibly be doing that's more important than watching this show? Nothing I can think of.
Nothing, really.
Especially this show.
Oh, yeah.
Because this one's a big
It's all
one.
about
So
me.
it's all about you?
Well, yeah.
Aren't they all?
No, they're not.
Let me tell you, being married to her, it is always about her.
It's all about that little white dog you got.
That little white dog. Where is Molly? She's over here sacked out. So,
Queen.
well, welcome everybody. We do have an important show today. I know we say that a lot, but we're going to be, I can't say it's a fun topic, but we're going to be talking about cancer because as we're filming this, it is October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
It sure is.
And it's very near and dear to Lori's heart.
Yep.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about that and really talking about a program that you kind of developed called Stronger Than Cancer, where we talk about how you work with cancer patients, both during and post-treatment and all that. So lots of good stuff. Let's just quickly
get rid of the housekeeping stuff.
Get the what?
Get rid of the housekeeping.
Get rid of the housekeeping stuff. Yeah.
Where all the exits are.
Don't forget, you can call into the show if you have any questions. 910-444-0281. See, I even put it on a piece of paper so I can remember it. I'm cheating. If you're listening to us on the Big Talker app, thank you. If you're not listening to us on the Big Talker app, as I said the other day, why aren't you? Go download it. It's available on Google Play and Apple. It's absolutely free. You can sync it to your car. I was driving down because I do all things Brunswick on Tuesday evenings. I was driving down, listening to our show from last week, as I did, blasting through the car stereo.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a damn good show. Go watch it if you haven't.
What was it about?
That was when Pam was on.
Oh, right. How to Run.
Yeah.
HowToRun.com.
There you go. And then, again, feel free to call in with any questions you have or comments, 910-444-0281. And also, you can, if you're watching us on Facebook, you can comment in the chat. Our producer TK is watching that. And on that note, let's get into it. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
It is.
But really, we want to raise awareness every month.
Every month to every cancer. I just think that breast cancer has its own designated month because of the number of people, men and women, that are affected by breast cancer.
More so women than men, but
right.
But men do get breast cancer,
yes.
and you should be checking, gentlemen.
Yep.
That's why I have her.
Yeah. Whatever.
But to your point that you just made, I did just before we came on air, I just jumped in and got the latest statistics. There's about 1.7 million diagnosed new cases of cancer each year, and about 600,000, and rounded that off, unfortunately, pass away from cancer each year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. And it's something that it's near and dear to Lori's heart, but it's also near and dear to me because most of my family, unfortunately, that's the cause of death.
Right.
We don't die from heart attacks or any of that stuff. Most of my family, sadly, various different types of cancer. So it's always on the top of my mind as well. But breast cancer is particularly near and dear to you. Why don't you explain why? What's that?
Particularly.
I had to slow down.
I know. I was cracking up. So I was 8 months pregnant when my mother got diagnosed with breast cancer 28 years ago. Probably. Yeah. Well,
you don't know how old your daughter is?
Well, no, she's 28. So I know it was 28 years ago, but it was amazing how those 4 words like impacted my life. I have breast cancer, and I remained calm when my mother was telling me. And I got out in the car and drove away a little bit and just stopped my car and broke down, because when you hear those words, how are you going to, excuse me, get through that? And how are you going to be supportive when that news just like shattered my life? And
that was your mother that came.
that was my mother.
Right.
So she went through the doctors. She had already gone and had her biopsy and everything, and went and had her mastectomy. And at that point, she was on the fence about getting both taken off at that time. And she decided she would just do one. Personally, if it was me, I knowing what I know, if that was a diagnosis that came my way, I would get them both removed then.
Why?
Because statistics show, I mean, my mother got it twice. She had it
Right.
twice, 2 different types of breast cancers. And it's just, why keep it?
Right.
You know, why risk that?
And just to clarify real quick, we're not giving medical advice
No,
here.
I'm not.
Okay?
I'm just
This is
talking
her
about,
personal
this is
opinion.
my story.
Right.
Why I got involved, why I got involved in raising money for breast cancer research. And again, you only get involved in a cause when it affects you personally. And back in that time, was when I started getting more involved in it. So my mother went through, she had the mastectomy. She did not have to have any chemo or anything, because through the surgery, they were able to get clean margins. There was nothing in any of her lymph nodes or anywhere. So she didn't need treatment. And then probably about, I want to say 6 or 7 years later, she got diagnosed again. And that was in 2001.
And that's a common thing to have it come back.
Not all times.
Not all the time, but
right,
it does
but
happen.
There's
frequently.
there's that possibility.
Right.
So it came back again in 2001. So that was 7 years, because she got it in 2014, 2001. And
What?
she went, huh?
2014 and 2001. That's 14 years.
What?
You said 7 years.
Oh, no, wait. So wait.
You got your
So
years screwed up.
94.
There
was
you go.
when
In
she had it.
2001.
Yeah.
I knew something was there.
Yeah. So then she did not have clean margins. She had some cells someplace else. So at that point, she had to start chemo. And after her second treatment of chemo, she wanted to stop her treatment. And I said, you can't. And it was selfish on my part for saying, no, you can't stop. But I kept reminding her how strong she was. And she only, and I know I say that word only because I never had it, but she had 5 total treatments. So she was almost halfway done. She gets through that, we move forward from that. So she did. She completed her chemo. She went back to work both times after her cancers. And it was amazing to see how strong she was in dealing with that diagnosis. 2 different type of breast cancers. So that kind of made us feel good, knowing that they got it all that first time. So that's my story of why I got involved in some fundraising. I took part in, as well as you did, in a lot of the Komen walks and runs.
Those are the 3-day walks.
3-day walks.
I did. I was fortunate enough to do one. It was an amazing experience.
Yes.
You did have several, though.
We did 5. Our team raised about over $50,000 towards cancer research. And we were just 5 women amongst thousands of people walking and raising money and awareness for breast cancer. And I'll never forget the very first breast cancer walk in Boston that we did. after on the third day, there was this woman standing as we were walking towards the holding area before the end of the closing ceremony. And there she stood with the sign, "My heart beat because of your feet." And that just crushed me because here she is standing there with that sign. And I'm going to cry because it still resonates with me. But we saw her, I think, 6 years later. And there she was standing there holding that same sign. And I went and hugged her and I said, "I remember you from the very first walk that I did with you or did here. And it's so nice to see you here." And she said, "Thank you for remembering." It's a humbling experience to take part in events that raise money for awareness, only because the people that are affected with cancer or breast cancer, they can't begin to thank us enough,
Right.
because we care. And if you look at all the breast cancer walks that are around every community throughout the month of October, and you see the thousands of people walking,
Mhm.
that's a lot of money raised for research to hopefully eventually find that cure. But 9 times out of 10, you're walking amongst survivors as well.
Yeah, there's almost always
Oh God,
people,
yeah. Oh yeah.
survivors, people going through treatment
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Um,
Men and women,
yes.
young and old. It does not have an age, and it doesn't have a gender specific.
Could
It
affect
happens
anyone.
to anyone.
Exactly. Yeah, and along those lines, one of the things that I think a lot of people aren't aware of is how prevalent it is. Breast cancer is the second most common cancer for women to contract. Unfortunately, skin cancer's first.
That's because we lay in the sun.
Yeah. Oh, well, you do.
I do.
And it roughly affects about 1 in every 8 women in their lifetime. And as you mentioned, it doesn't just affect women, it affects men, it affects
Right.
everyone. So, yeah, the chances of a man getting it are much lower, but it's still a possibility. And, she doesn't toot her own horn, but she's raised tens of thousands of dollars.
As a team.
It was as a team.
Right.
And like I said, I had the privilege of joining you that one time. The thing I remember most, there's 2 things I remember. Day one. So each day you do roughly 20 miles, give or take.
Yep.
It's about 60 miles total over 3 days. But the first day as we were leaving, this was in Boston, I remember there was a woman dressed up in Army gear.
Yep.
Like full pack, everything, walking that 20 miles in the next 2 days. I remember seeing her off and on. That's if you've ever carried a ruck or that much, she was probably carrying somewhere around 60, 70 pounds on her body.
Yeah. And that's the thing and I remember I think we were in Philadelphia walking, our second 3-day walk. There was a woman and she was in her fatigues the first day.
Mm.
The second day we were walking kind of behind her, and she had been injured. She had a prosthetic leg, and we were watching her walk. We're not walking flat surfaces. We're walking up and down hills, and
Yeah.
And it was amazing to see her truck through. And on the third day, towards the end, she was sitting for a few minutes, and she was massaging her leg, and I knew the pain that she was experiencing, because when you walk a lot, you develop blisters, and
Yes,
I'm
you do.
sure she had some blisters going on, but she didn't stop. And that was one of the things, like when we would do our trainings, we would walk in snow, rain, whatever.
And you never know what you might encounter.
Right. But the thing was, like I said to the team the first day or something, like first day, the weather was not ideal. I said, cancer doesn't stop because it's raining. And they all said to me, "Oh, we hate you. We hate that you bring this to reality." But that's the reality.
It's also who you
it
are.
It doesn't
though.
stop.
Right.
And, it's a humbling experience. It's something that I know I hold near and dear to my heart. I know everybody that walked a 3-day with us, and like you said, you remember my kids walked in them.
Yeah.
And I remember the first year that we walked, Melissa was the youngest one. She was 16. You had to be 16 to walk. She was one of two girls, 16 years old. And she encountered blisters on her feet that it just looked like she had chicken pox on her feet. That's how bad her feet were blistered. She didn't complain about anything. The next day we went to medical, got the blisters popped and stuff, and she didn't complain about anything. And I think she didn't complain only because she saw what my mother went through. And it was her idea to get.
Well, she also had you
right
as an example of, because it's funny when you mentioned the hills, and it's something popped in my brain. Is part of the course that we did in Boston included parts of the Boston Marathon course.
Yes.
And we went up Heartbreak Hill, which if you've ever seen it on TV, or kudos to you if you've ever run it, but we were walking up it, and I think it was you that said, that's a tough hill. It is tough. They were actually, some people couldn't get up. They were busting them up, but we were walking it up, and I'm pretty sure it was you who said, as hard as this is, it's nothing like what people go through cancer deal with. And that really, to me, that put it in perspective, right? Any of the suffering that we were going through, whether it was with our feet, trying to climb a hill, it's nothing compared to what someone who's had a diagnosis and is going through treatment goes through. So it does kind of change your perspective. And
oh, absolutely.
I mean, who am I to complain, if I got a few blisters on my feet compared to someone who's dealing with something like that? Kind of want to morph the conversation a little bit now to talk about one of the things that we wanted to really get into is how exercise in particular can benefit you. And again, it's both men and women, but more so we're going to talk about women. It's not to slight the guys, but the reality is we're focused on breast cancer right now. And that they are far more likely to get it. But one of the things that I read in a study about a week or so, 10 days or so, it came out. The research that's coming out that says exercise as a preventative for all types of cancer, but especially breast cancer, the numbers are staggering. The one study said it almost definitively reduced your risk of cancer by about 20% for those who are active. And they defined active as working out like 3 to 4 times a week for about 30 to 45 minutes. The standard that you hear from the government, right? The 150 minutes of exercise a week. That's what they were using as their guide. And when you think about it, 20% is a significant number.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was another study that I was aware of that came out in 2019 from the American Institute for Cancer Research. So they're the organization for that. They study studies. All right. And that study and others like it found a direct correlation in the amount of exercise that you do and the likelihood of getting cancer. In other words, the more active you are, the more you exercise, that risk factor goes down significantly. And that's really important to think about because so many people, all they focus on with exercise, we've talked about this before, is losing weight.
Right.
Losing weight is immaterial compared to some of the other things. We talked a couple of weeks ago about how I ended up in the hospital. The fact that I work out contributed to me getting out of there much faster. Someone that has, God forbid, a cancer diagnosis, the benefits of exercise before that to strengthen their body, to help them fight, and during it, which we're going to go into when we come back from the break, are significant. So actually, that's probably a good time. Let's head out to a quick break. And then we'll come back and we're going to talk about how exercise can help you before treatment, if God forbid you have to have it, during and post-treatment. So come back in just a few minutes. TK, take it away.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you or a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
Are you nervous about joining a gym? Anxious about not being able to keep up with others in the fitness classes? Full Circle Fitness has your solution. We specialize in working with those just getting started on their fitness journey. Our coaches tailor each workout to you and your level of ability, so you don't have to worry about keeping up. There's no better opportunity to get started. Call today, Full Circle Fitness, 910-399-8350, or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
Oh no, our roof is leaking and hurricane season is right around the corner. Don't let a leaky roof keep you up at night. Protect your home. Call Best Choice Roofing to schedule your free, yes, absolutely free roof inspection. Best Choice Roofing works with insurance or can repair the roof before the next storm, whether it's a full replacement or a repair. Choose the best. Call Best Choice Roofing at 910-228-5000 or go to bestchoiceroofing.com to book your appointment today.
It seems like every other store is now selling CBD in some form or another. But did you know that Wilmington has just one local CBD company? I'm talking about Carolina Pure. Family owned and operated, they are Wilmington's first and only CBD company that makes quality hemp products right here in town, including tinctures, topicals, and pet products. Their hemp is sourced from local farmers and they support area musicians and nonprofits. Check us out at carolinapureshop.com.
Folks, you know you're all looking for that special gift. Lines are long, traffic is frustrating, supply chains in the news. Just take a deep breath. If you're anywhere near Oak Island, come by Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive. Avoid the traffic, the lines, the frustration, and get that extraordinary and special gift. From high-end diamond rings to Larimar, from necklaces to bracelets, watches, and unique jewelry. And you also get one-on-one service with their experienced staff. Great prices now just in time for the holidays. Come by and check out Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive.
And we're back from that short break. Back to Living Fit After 50. And today we're having a really good discussion about the unfortunate thing that a lot of us are going to have to deal with or have had to deal with, which is
Hopefully
cancer.
not have to deal with it.
I hope no one ever has to go through it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But unfortunately, it is a reality of life also. Just a quick reminder, if you want to call in with any questions or comments, 910-444-0281. You can also jump in the chat on Facebook. And also don't forget, just real quick, get rid of this piece of paper, that we have our website, livingfitafter50.com. There's prior shows available on that. There's other information. There's all sorts of good stuff. And then we have our private Facebook group too. If you're not in that, you are more than welcome to join us. It's absolutely free. And in that, we post daily tips and tricks. I had an amazing recipe go up this week for falafel balls. I am going to make them this week. Lori, I don't know if you saw the face.
I did not.
She won't touch them, but they are delicious. They're
Probably have
available in
sweet
the
potato
group.
in 'em.
And there's workouts that you can go do. Lori puts a workout up every Saturday. Call them weekend warrior workouts. Lots of good stuff in there, and it's absolutely free. And as one person emailed me, about 6 or 7 weeks ago, he's lost something like 40 pounds just doing what we post in there. So he does the recipes. He says, I try every recipe. His name was Mike something or other. He's tried every recipe we've posted. He does the workouts and all that. So that actually made me feel good because we put a lot of time into that. But anyway, let's get back to the far more important thing, which is discussing about cancer, but specifically exercise in cancer. So as I talked about before we went on break, there are study after study showing the benefits of exercise when it comes to dealing with cancer, both prevention wise, as we kind of talked about. The more you exercise, the lower your risk. But really, we want to kind of get into now about why you would want to keep fit and keep working out after a diagnosis, both during treatment and post. So let's ask the expert here. So for those that don't know, Lori is a certified Cancer exercise
fitness
specialist.
Yeah. Exercise specialist.
I never get it right. It's a mouthful.
That's all right.
What's the acronym, like Cefi, or I don't know. Anyway, it's immaterial. So she has gotten extensive training on this and works with patients directly. So what would you say? Why is it important to keep fit and to keep working out when you've been diagnosed or going through treatment and even afterward?
So if you have been working out, you want to keep that going because, like you said, you're physically fit, you're strong, and even though you got this diagnosis, you still want to keep that going because if it's, and I don't want to say if it's just breast cancer, with any cancer diagnosis, most people then get, well, there's two things. You either become very depressed and let cancer take over your life, or you keep being active and just
You fight
take
it.
over your life.
Right.
And cancer doesn't define you. And that's one of the things that I always say. Any type of diagnosis should not define the person that you are. And cancer is one of those diagnoses that you hear those words and it is debilitating and it is just crushing because why me? And it just unfortunate, why my mother? Well, she had a strong family history of it.
Mhm.
But she didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't do anything that would warrant or for you to say, well, you didn't take care of yourself. So you smoke like a chimney, drank like a fish, and you're concerned that you got cancer. But like some of the clients that we have had with cancer diagnosis, their thing that they say to me is, what is your goal? And I just want to be strong. And when you overcome a diagnosis of cancer and you move forward from that, you're taking a great leap of strength to just keep going.
Would you agree when you say they want to be strong that it's not just physical, it's the mental and
Oh,
emotional?
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's physical and mental. It's just like, I don't want to say it on the air, but it's that middle finger to cancer. You may have taken this, but you're not going to take that.
Right.
And when you see somebody that has that diagnosis, you basically can see them melt right in front of you. And if somebody has come to me and they've always worked out, they got this diagnosis, well, then we want you to keep doing that. We don't want you to just give up on life because your strength, your condition in your body is going to help you recover faster and allow you to keep doing the things that you're doing, as well as find other things that you can do, may not have been able to do, but now can do something different because it may have made you take a different path, but you're still working out and keeping healthy.
Right. You may not be able to do everything you could do while you're going through treatment, but that's where you come in and work with them and make modifications.
Right. You become differently able to do some of the things that you do. And that's where, when you get a cancer diagnosis, such as breast cancer, there's certain things that you can't do right away, or if ever at all again. Right. So that's where when you hire somebody or go to somebody that has that experience or expertise or the knowledge or the resources to find exercises or a program to help you, that's what you want to do, because you don't want to cause any more harm to the area that's affected by any of your treatments.
And that's something we've talked about this on the show before. With all my experience, and I've been training people for 4 decades now, back to the 80s. For all my experience, I don't have the expertise that Lori does, right? I haven't had that special training.
Right.
I have worked with people post-cancer, full recovery, that type of stuff.
Right.
But somebody who's actively going through treatment, that's where Lori comes in, because what Lori does, it's a little bit different, and correct me on any of this if I'm wrong, is you become part of their team, right? They have their doctor,
Correct.
they usually have a nutritionist,
Right.
they
So
have
what
their
happens
oncologist,
is
they have all these people.
yes.
You become part of that team and you all work together.
Right. If you're an existing client of ours and God forbid you get that diagnosis and you say, this is what's going on. I don't want to stop working out. Okay. Let me give you this. I can come to your oncologist. I can come to your doctor. I can speak with your surgeon, involve me in all of that. And then collectively, as that team for you, we will then develop your plan of action for after you have your surgery or treatments or what have you. So that way we're all on the same page. And that's important because if you have, if you don't have that support, and they may not even come back to work out. However, they still know that you're well aware of everything and you're still that support person.
Which is important because a lot of people go through a diagnosis like that. They don't feel like they have anyone that can be their aid, their what's the term I'm looking for? Their cheerleader for that matter. Right. That person that's going to be there. And this is where you're way better than most people at.
I have compassion.
You have way more than me, apparently. Just ask any of our members recently. But you are there not just to give them a workout to do or guide them through a workout, much, much more than that. And that's where everything you're doing. Advocate, thank you, TK. Our producer message. He can read my mind. He's that good. I think, in my opinion, having watched you with people, I think they get more benefit out of that than they do the working out. Just having that person, because sometimes you don't feel comfortable talking to your spouse or a family member about it. Having that person that is going to stand by them, go to appointments. You've done that in the past with various things.
Right.
All
And
that
one
stuff.
of the things, like and you say that you reminded me of something, because when my mother was going through it, she didn't talk to any of us about any of it. And I said to her, I have some friends that have breast cancer. They go to a group. I don't need a group. Okay. I can help you and stuff. And I finally said to my mother, I know you feel like you're going through this alone because it's affected your physical and mental being. But as a family, it affected us all. And that was one thing that I think took my mother back by surprise when I said that, because the whole family dynamic changes when somebody gets diagnosed with cancer. And coming from an Italian family, we were at my mother's every Sunday for dinner, and that ended. It just ended. So,
which is a shock to you.
It is. So she then realized, wow, I'm not going through this alone. We went through it far differently than what she went through it. But we also didn't know how to help her. We didn't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't want to keep saying, so how
that's the hardest thing for me is, what do you say?
Yeah. You don't want to keep saying, it's like, so how are you feeling today?
Yeah.
How do you think I'm feeling? So, you kind of have to learn and go through it with them and take the cues from them. Because like I said to my mother, I never had it. I'm just going through it with you. So we got to go through this together somehow. And that's where, with my experience, I'm able to talk and connect with individuals with a cancer diagnosis, because I was the other side of the diagnosis.
But you went through 2 bouts of it as a caregiver. So
no, we went through it 3 times with her. Yeah.
So you understand that, and you've taken that experience and roll it into your program.
Right.
I mean, it's obvious with that. So let's talk a little bit about, if unfortunately someone is diagnosed, what do you do with someone who maybe has never worked out or hasn't worked out in a long time? They're going through treatment. Maybe their doctor has said, look, it might, because these studies are coming out one right after the other, you might want to look at doing some exercise. So I guess two questions I have. One, how do they find an expert like you? That would be the first question I would have.
Google. No.
Dr. Google, right? And then two, how do you begin to approach it with someone maybe who's never worked out or hasn't worked out in a while?
So you can, in all seriousness, Google search cancel fitness exercise specialist out there. And I know our organization that we have, you can even put it on Facebook. But there are so many of us now. Andrea's program is phenomenal, and it is all around the world. And I mean all around the world. It's not just in the United States anymore. And you'd be amazed on the number of people that have that experience within your area. Connect with local organizations. They should be able to help you find somebody who has some experience in working with people with cancer.
You've met with a couple of the ones local here in
I have,
Wilmington,
and
Cape Fear region.
I have to reach out to a few more just so I can connect with them and get my information out to them. But so here's what happens if you've never worked out before and you want to start working out. So of course there's a questionnaire. There's always that health questionnaire, as well as the typical questions. Have you been cleared by your doctor? We need to see that documentation, as well as really have an in-depth assessment and conversation with the individual to truly understand every aspect of their diagnosis, their treatments, surgeries, everything. Because like I said, I mean, I have binders filled with the information of what I've learned from the course, as well as with each different type of cancer out there. We had modules on them. So if I don't know right then, I will know before we even start treatment, because the resources that we have given to us and provided for us are amazing. But we're not just going to have you come in and do like a simple fit test and see what you're at, because
wouldn't be appropriate in that case.
Right. So it's not, you're going to come in today and work out. No, you're going to come in, we're going to talk, you're going to get to know me, I'm going to get to know you. You're going to fill out this form, 20 pages long. No, not that long. But, and then,
and the HIPAA release.
Right. And then we start working out the plan, the approach, and really monitor it. It's truly a monitoring, because if, we're looking at for aches and pains, swelling, redness, fever, a whole bunch of different things that we are watching in your training session. It's not
right. More so than like I would as a trainer.
Right.
You have special things that you're looking for.
We want to make sure that we're limiting the workout on one side until we build up some strength. We're gonna work with your abilities. We're gonna strengthen your limitations. You're gonna work by yourself unless you want to work with a group of people. But to start off, it's that one-on-one
generally
type
do
of
one-on-one
session.
for the most part. Yeah.
And ideally, one of the things, because of the cancer history with my mom and stuff, becoming a trainer, this was something I wanted to do years ago, is to have that type of training. So that way, people with the diagnosis aren't just saying, well, can't work out anymore. Well, you can work out. You can, right. There's no reason to stop.
And all the studies are now saying you should be working out. Just because she will not pat herself on the back, so I'm going to do it for her. The training she's talking about, you might think it's like a weekend course, or you read a book and you go take a test. It's not. This is college level, beyond college level in some ways, training.
I think it was like 12 to 15 weeks of
it was intense. You were
virtual online training with Andrea, going through the things.
You were doing classes online. You were studying separate. I mean, this was not some simple little
200 question test. I didn't pass the first one.
Yeah.
And it was an open book test too.
And I'll tell you, I looked at some of the questions. With all my experience, I had no idea. And that's
Right,
why
because
it's specific to.
it's not fitness. It's not what muscle are you using when you do
Yes,
a bicep
exactly.
curl.
That's my
It's
point.
what muscle are you looking at to alleviate. I mean, it was not an easy thing.
And I'm going to say that, and I'm sure I'm upsetting some trainers who might be listening to this by saying this next sentence, which is, you do not want just a normal personal trainer if you have a cancer diagnosis and you're dealing with, if you're currently being treated, you need an expert like Lori. And
Right.
I'm not saying that to try and sell anything
Right.
or anything along those lines, but the reality is the average trainer and the above average like me, we don't have that expertise. I know enough that if someone like post-cancer treatment, if they've been cleared and all that, I can pick that
Right.
up.
If they've been, cancer
Free
had their
for-
surgery, 12 years ago, have been working out, yes. But if somebody newly diagnosed, and even a fitness trainer could say, well, I can try to train you, but I'm going to have to get some more knowledge on.
Right. But unfortunately, that takes a while to get
It
the
does.
proper knowledge,
Yeah.
And we're not knocking trainers. All right. We're
No.
not knocking me in any way, shape, or form. I just, much like I have a specialty in cardiac rehab. When people come out of cardiac episodes, they go through all their PT and all that, then they would come to me. It's a specialty. So when you're dealing with something like cancer, cardiac, whatever, you want to look for a specialist. Much like a doctor. Right.
Right.
The general practitioner is not the one you go to for your cancer treatments. They're part of the team. Absolutely.
Right.
But you go to a cancer doctor, whatever form it is. So, why don't we take a break right now? And then we come back. I want to talk a bit more about the type of training you would do with someone to kind of give a feel. If God forbid somebody's going through it, how would you approach a session? What might you do? That type of thing. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. We are going to go out for a quick break and we'll be back and pick it up from there.
Are you tired of making bad choices? Well, don't. Choose Best Choice Roofing for all your roofing needs. From free inspection to timely repairs, we've got you covered. And with our Owens Corning Platinum Preferred status, we'll have you covered for years to come. Give us a call at 910-228-5000 or go to bestchoiceroofing.com today to schedule your absolutely free, no obligation roof assessment.
How far would you go if you had a group of strong, amazing people who support, motivate, and inspire one another to achieve their fitness goals and dreams? At Full Circle Fitness, we aren't just a place to work out. We're a community of amazing people who work together to reclaim our bodies and do things we thought we'd never be able to do again. Ready to set your fears aside and stop making excuses? Call today, Full Circle Fitness, 910-399-8350, or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, located at 8210 River Road, Southport, is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, with the Tackle Box open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6. Marine Service Pro is a full Suzuki and Tohatsu dealership. They deal in pre-owned boats, full service and repair, with certified technicians in all engines, and fiberglass specialists. The Tackle Box offers fresh, local seafood, live bait, a tackle shop, and fish packing and shipping. They also offer a full-service U-Haul dealership. Spend time with Leon or Jenny for one-stop shopping at Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, 8210 River Road, Southport.
Oh no, our roof is leaking and hurricane season is right around the corner. Don't let a leaky roof keep you up at night. Protect your home. Call Best Choice Roofing to schedule your free, yes, absolutely free roof inspection. Best Choice Roofing works with insurance or can repair the roof before the next storm, whether it's a full replacement or a repair. Choose the best. Call Best Choice Roofing at 910-228-5000 or go to bestchoiceroofing.com to book your appointment today.
It seems like every other store is now selling CBD in some form or another. But did you know that Wilmington has just one local CBD company? I'm talking about Carolina Pure. Family owned and operated, they are Wilmington's first and only CBD company that makes quality hemp products right here in town, including tinctures, topicals, and pet products. Their hemp is sourced from local farmers and they support area musicians and nonprofits. Check us out at carolinapureshop.com.
And we're back to Living Fit After 50. Just listening to that last spot before we came back with Carolina Pure. Can't rave about them enough.
I know, they're great.
I've been, so I had a little trouble sleeping the last few days and I started using the CBD. I did the chocolate
Wait a
and the
minute.
gummies.
You're on like their fifth bar, so don't say
Let
the
me
last
tell
2
you,
nights.
I have not slept that good and I don't know how long. So kudos to them. They have amazing products. Check them out, Carolina Pure. All right, let's get back to the topic at hand, which is dealing with cancer and specifically exercise and how it can become part of your treatment. And I thought it would be fun. To use yeah, I know. To use myself as an example. So if you've been listening to the show for any time, you know that it was about 3.5 weeks ago. I ended up in the hospital through my own stupidity. We already did a whole show on that. Go check it out.
Yeah, that's TikTok.
But one of the things that they were talking to me extensively about with the issues I was having was the possibility of colon cancer. And you were kind of talking about how it hits you. Now, mind you, I do not have it, was never even closely diagnosed, but they kept asking me, and it was in my mind like, oh crap, I might have cancer. And so I can kind of sort of relate to that feeling, but certainly I was not diagnosed. But let's use that. Let's say I had been.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going into treatment, whatever that treatment might be, and it's going to vary from person to person. There's no set treatment on anything. And again, let me clarify, we are not, as we're talking today, giving anyone any medical advice. You need to speak with your doctors. We're just sharing our experiences, and we are talking about the exercise portion because that is Lori's area of expertise. But don't take that as anything your doctor says outrules us by a millionfold. So
Right.
I just want to be clear on that. So using myself as an example, let's say, God forbid, I had been diagnosed. Now I've come to you. All right. I'm going to be starting treatment. I've been diagnosed with colon cancer. We'll just leave it generic at that. How would you approach, like you kind of alluded, the first thing you would do is meet with me. We wouldn't even be working out at first, correct?
Right.
What would you've talked about, you would talk with the doctors and all that. What are some of the questions that you might ask initially in that meeting? Like,
Well, so I took out my manual.
show them the manual. This is just one of
Well, so I have
several
everything tabbed.
binders.
I have everything tabbed. But so there are, let me just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 possible surgical things that could happen with colon cancer. 10 different types of surgery.
I had no idea.
I know, right?
10.
And each one has a different rest time before you can start working out. Some is 2 weeks, some is 4 weeks, some is 6, some is 8, some is,
And that's why we say every situation is unique. There's no
Correct.
hard and fast
Correct.
rules on any of this.
Yeah, some people spend days in the hospital after this. But anyway, so a couple of things I'd ask you what type of surgery you had. And then I would make notes on everything. The first couple of things I'd make, first couple of times we'd be talking, making notes, because sometimes you may have forgotten something. You're going to take your questionnaire home, you're going to bring it back, and then we're going to review it page by page, line by line, because one of the things they don't want to do is cause any discomfort or pain or, any other problems related to whatever you had done.
Well, the other thing you do is with that, I'm assuming, is you're going to find out if there's any devices that they have on their, like ports, for example.
Right. If
different
you're
type of
still going
things.
through treatments, you may still have your central line in. If you had a total, if you had a colostomy bag, I mean, there's a lot of different things. And we look at what we then would look at during, the sessions are, as well as some of the side effects. You've got the lymphedema, infection, diarrhea, constipation.
Feeling like crap all the time.
Yeah, pun intended.
Yeah.
But as well as there are limitations when you look at the surgical site, is it on your abdomen? Is it lower? You look at the big thing with any type of surgery that you have is, and I mean any surgery, is muscle imbalance. That is pretty much a side effect or something that any trainer would always look at is your imbalance because A, you're a lot weaker, and B, you had major surgery, C, you're off kilter. So that is one thing that any trainer is going to look at, is focusing and working on your balance.
And balance does get affected when you're under those treatments.
Oh, absolutely.
Significantly.
I mean, even if any surgery you have, your balance is always something that, and in almost every cancer here that I have, I think I have like 25 different cancers, if not more. Balance is one of the things that comes up a lot. So we always want to make sure that you are working out safely, and you may be working out in like a squat rack because there was bars on each
Have that
side
support around
for
it,
that
right.
support. So yeah.
I've done that with cardiac rehab people. Because
Yeah.
I have them in a squat rack. Again, they're not squatting in the rack there, but it's there in case they need it for the balance or
Right.
anything, the rails and all that. So again, I'm using myself as an example. We have our meeting. We kind of sort of come up with a plan that first meeting or two,
Yep.
and then we start doing the plan. Now, obviously, I'm putting her on the spot here, so cut her a little slack. But if it were me, right, that
I'd
I
send you
normally
someplace
squat,
else.
deadlift, and all that, what'd you say?
I'd send you to someone else.
Wow. I am speechless right now. I normally do the squats. The
You wouldn't
deadlifts
be
and all
doing that.
I wouldn't be doing
You
that.
would not
What
be doing
might
that.
you have? Again, very loose on this because we're not trying to be specific because everybody's different. But in my case, a little bit about me. If I had been diagnosed, came to you, what I've done for working out, what would you have me?
You're
perhaps working
starting
out?
out with low weights and doing
Or possibly no weights.
simple things. Absolutely. Because we have to find out where your aerobic capacity is at. Your upper
Good
body
point.
may still be strong, but you had a lot of stuff going on inside. And one of the things is when you lift heavy, the amount of force that you put on your body, and
Yep.
when you lift something heavy, you're bearing down. And
Especially if you're doing it right.
right.
It's
And
called the
that's
Valsalva
one thing
maneuver.
that we
Yeah.
don't want. We don't want you bearing down because you've already had some stuff going on down there. So very light, and your heavy lifting period may not start until 6 months out. And that's based on, a step up program,
Right.
as well as then talking with your doctor and saying, all right, here's where he's at. And knowing who you are, Dan, I'd have to go to the doctors with you because you don't tell the truth. So
I have never lied to you. I may have forgotten to tell you
Yeah.
certain things, but I've never
or
lied
I'm going
to
to
you.
be in trouble. So that's one of the things that it
Don't
would be.
be
It
me.
would be a step up program. I don't
Right.
care what you did pre-surgery. What I care about is what we're doing post-surgery. It's great to know where you were. This is where we are,
Right.
and that's going to be a goal of yours. We'll get there. We may get close to it. We may not get to that specific weight, but we'll work with you to get you to a point where you're comfortable and you're satisfied with the progress that you're making.
Yeah, I mean, the key point that I think Lori's trying to make, and I am too, is that for someone like myself who works out regularly, with the diagnosis I have, which is not cancer, I can't lift technically until January. As we're filming
Technically
this.
nothing. You cannot lift until January. See, this is why, as really any type of trainer, when you have somebody like who here, you have to go to the doctors with them. And that's why we check temperatures before working out. We really monitor for swelling. We do a lot of different things during that workout training.
Right.
And if we have to have you sign a release because it's you, I would sign a release, but you really have to remind your client to listen to their bodies and listen to us as the professional and not say, well, back in the day, but now you're today and you can't do that anymore.
What you could do may not be possible anymore.
Correct.
Or to the level that you're used to.
Correct.
All right. On that note, we've got to take one final break.
Really?
And then we're going to come back and close out the show. I cannot believe how fast this has gone by. Take it away, TK.
Oh no, our roof is leaking and hurricane season is right around the corner. Don't let a leaky roof keep you up at night. Protect your home. Call Best Choice Roofing to schedule your free, yes, absolutely free roof inspection. Best Choice Roofing works with insurance or can repair the roof before the next storm, whether it's a full replacement or a repair. Choose the best. Call Best Choice Roofing at 910-228-5000 or go to bestchoiceroofing.com to book your appointment today.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you or a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
Have you heard about Cape Fear's only fitness community exclusively for those over 50? At Full Circle Fitness, we understand that goals, lifestyles, and our bodies change through the decades, which is why our Living Fit After 50 is custom designed to help you get a safe, effective workout without spending hours in the gym. Get started today. Call 910-399-8350 or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
The left has hijacked our media, our culture, and our schools. Your children are taught to hate America. Your speech is censored. Your employer is woke, and you are being called racist. That's why I wrote a book showing you how to keep the left from dominating your life. The book is called Rules for Anti-Radicals, a practical handbook for defeating leftism. And it draws from my 28 years of grassroots leadership by empowering conservatives too often bullied into silence by the left. It's a comprehensive guide to beating leftism not only in politics, but in daily life. And it's not just for dedicated conservative activists, but also for anyone sick of getting beaten down by the woke mob. Whether it's your job, your school board, or your neighbors, you can win against woke. Get Rules for Anti-Radicals from Amazon or at rulesforantiradicals.com/radio. That's rulesforantiradicals.com/radio.
Folks, you know you're all looking for that special gift. Lines are long, traffic is frustrating, supply chains in the news. Just take a deep breath. If you're anywhere near Oak Island, come by Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive. Avoid the traffic, the lines, the frustration, and get that extraordinary and special gift. From high-end diamond rings to Larimar, from necklaces to bracelets, watches, and unique jewelry. And you also get one-on-one service with their experienced staff. Great prices now, just in time for the holidays. Come by and check out Seaside Jewelers, 8801 East Oak Island Drive.
We're back to Living Fit After 50. We only got about a minute or so to wrap things up. Lori, if someone wanted to take advantage of your outstanding expertise,
Outstanding.
how would they reach out to you?
What's our phone number? No.
I hope you know.
You can reach out to me at Lori@FullCircleFitnessNC.com or info@livingfitafter50.com. So many different ways. You can check out us on our website,
FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
But yeah.
Or livingfitafter50.com. And you can also call in at 910-399-8350. All right. Next week, we're going to have Dr. Rachel Gregg on with us. She's a doctor and pharmacist. She's going to be talking about her holistic approach to medicine. It's going to be amazing. We'll leave it at that. Everyone, you have an awesome week. And I hope you never have to deal with what we talked about today.
No, absolutely. But if you do, give me a call.
Till next time, we're signing off. You have a great week, everybody.